Have you ever received criticism that completely threw you off balance? Maybe it was from a boss, a colleague, or even a friend, and suddenly you find yourself replaying those words over and over again in your head. What if I told you if there's a way to hear criticism objectively, respond with confidence, and use it to your advantage without letting it shake your self-worth? Today, we're tackling a subject that every leader, professional, and individual faces: how to handle criticism like a pro. Negative feedback can feel personal, discouraging, and even unfair. But what if I told you that criticism, when handled correctly, can be one of the greatest tools for growth? Let's start with understanding criticism and why it feels so personal. Now, criticism can feel like an attack, but very often it's not about you as a person, it's about the work that you do, your approach, or a particular situation. One of the biggest mistakes we make is assuming clarity where it does not exist. Leaders and professionals often think they're being clear about their expectations, but in reality, without ongoing communication, people are left guessing. When feedback feels sharp or out of nowhere, it's often the result of unclear expectations. An important step in handling criticism is to proactively provide clarity. Make sure responsibilities are well defined, priorities are understood, and performance standards are transparent. Equip yourself with the right training and resources when feedback does come. And when it does come, it's not a shock. It's simply part of the learning process. Let's be honest, no one enjoys criticism, but the key difference between someone who grows from feedback and someone who crumbles under it is how they process it. Here's a mindset shift. Criticism is about what you do, not who you are. It's easy to take it personally, but if you can separate you from your work, criticism loses its sting. One of the ways to do this is by validating your emotional response. Let yourself acknowledge this feedback stings, but don't let that define your self-worth. Another powerful tool: thank the person giving the criticism. It immediately shifts the power dynamic. Instead of seeing them as an attacker, you reframe them as somebody providing insight, whether or not you agree with their perspective. Confidence, very, very important, is not a feeling, it's a belief. Many people think they need to feel confident before rejecting the sting of criticism, but that's backwards thinking. Confidence comes from practicing resilience. One strategy: prepare responses in advance. If you already know how you'll handle criticism, you won't react emotionally. You'll respond thoughtfully. Ask yourself, is this feedback helpful? If yes, take it in and improve. If not, don't let it sink in. Not every opinion deserves to shape your confidence. Another way to build resilience is small rituals that help reset your mindset. Maybe it's taking a deep breath, a quick walk, or writing down some key takeaways from your feedback. The goal is to maintain control over your emotions and your energy. Many leaders make the mistake of believing they must have all the answers. But leadership isn't about knowing everything, it's about guiding and directing. When leaders accept that they don't need to be perfect, they create stronger teams. Invite feedback from your team, and when you receive it, show that you're taking it seriously. The strongest leaders are not the ones who never get criticized. They're the ones who learn, adjust, and grow from it. Neglecting emotional intelligence is a leadership mistake that can cost you credibility, trust, and performance. High emotional intelligence allows you to take a step back, observe your reactions, and engage criticism productively. Instead of reacting defensively, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this help me and my team improve? Is this criticism valid, or is it based on opinion rather than fact? By doing this, you move criticism from something hurtful to something useful. One of the most freeing realizations is that you don't need everyone's approval. Many professionals struggle with wanting validation from others. But here's the truth. No matter what you do, someone will always have an opinion. Releasing yourself from the weight of approval allows you to focus on meaningful feedback that actually helps you grow. Not all criticism is useful, and not all opinions should guide your actions. Learn to differentiate between constructive criticism and the noise that doesn't serve your growth. Leaders often try to shield their teams from uncertainties, but transparency can foster trust. If tough feedback is coming due to external challenges or teams' misunderstandings, address it openly. Pretending everything is fine doesn't make it so, but clear communication does. Being vulnerable about not having all the answers isn't a weakness. That's leadership. It builds trust, strengthens relationships with your team members and anyone around you. Being generous with your own constructive feedback is equally important. Many think generosity is about finances or perks, but mentoring, guiding, and sharing insights with others is, in of itself, a form of leadership. Offer feedback in a way that helps others grow, just as you would want feedback to help you. Ask yourself, would I want to receive this message? And tailor your words accordingly. Here are some key takeaways. Number one, criticism isn't about your actions, it's about your worth. Separate the two so feedback doesn't feel personal. Number two, confidence isn't a feeling, it's a mindset. You decide if criticism affects you long term. Number three, leaders don't have all the answers. The strongest leaders listen, adjust, and grow. Number four, emotional intelligence is a superpower. Managing your reactions to criticism makes you much more effective. And lastly, number five, not all criticism is useful. Learn to filter out the constructive feedback from the unnecessary noise and static. Handling criticism is a skill, not an innate talent. The more you practice, the stronger you become. Don't fear negative feedback. Use it as a tool to refine your skills, leadership, and confidence. I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's episode. How do you handle criticism? What strategies work for you? Share your thoughts by visiting www.soundobjectivity.com, where you'll find additional content, including the blog post, The 5-Step Criticism Immunity Framework, How to Handle Criticism Without Losing Confidence. You've been listening to Criticism Proof, the secret to handling negative feedback like a pro. My name is David Campagna, and this is the Sound Objectivity Podcast. Until next time.